Welcome back, beloved one. Today we explore the fifth pillar of the soul's ascension, surrender, through the teachings of Christ, along with other ancient texts and physics. Jesus didn't just surrender to death, he surrendered to life, to love, to God's will. Surrender is not giving up, it's giving over, and it's what frees us from the illusion of the flesh. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done." That was surrender. He knew pain was coming, and still he opened his heart. Surrender doesn't remove suffering, but it transforms it. Through it, Jesus became the bridge between heaven and earth. In the Lord's Prayer, Jesus gives us the example of letting go of control. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. This is not just a plea, it's a conscious release of the ego's desire to control outcomes, a trust in divine order and timing. Christ teaches us about self-denial and letting go of ego in Luke. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. Surrender is framed here as a daily discipline, a constant release of ego, identity, and desire. In the Gospel of Thomas, he talks to us about letting go of the world. In saying 70, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Surrender here means expressing the divine within, not clinging to fear of the flesh. In Mary Magdalene's Ascension, the fifth binding she is taught that we must overcome is the flesh, the illusion that we're only this body, these cravings, these fears. It is a lie that says this is all there is, but the soul knows better. In the Gospel of Mary, the soul stands before the power of the flesh, which tries to accuse and hold it captive. Yet the soul does not fight, it simply recognizes. It sees the flesh for what it is, a temporary garment, and in that moment of clarity it transcends. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we're to understand surrender as liberation, the soul's journey through the intermediate states after death. The text continually instructs the soul to let go of form, identity, even the desire for bodily return, and to recognize the clear light of reality, which is the true nature of mind. One powerful passage says, "O nobly born, listen. Now the pure, clear light of reality dawns before you. Recognize it. Let go of all attachments and fears. Rest in the natural state of awareness." This is surrender at the soul level, letting go of the illusion of the self as just body, name, or story. If the soul clings to identity, desire, or fear, it misses the gateway to liberation and is reborn. But if it surrenders into the light, it ascends beyond form. The Tibetan insight here is surrender is the doorway to recognizing your eternal nature. To release the flesh is to awaken as the light. And we find in the ancient Egyptian belief that the body was seen as sacred, but the soul was eternal. At death, the heart, the seat of emotion and ego, was weighed against the feather of Mot, the goddess of truth, balance, and divine order. The soul had to recite the negative confession, declaring, "I have not clung to the flesh, I have not fed false desires, I have lived in harmony with the divine order." Only if the heart was light, free from guilt, fear, or selfishness, could the soul pass through the underworld and ascend. Here, surrender is living as alignment, letting go of attachment to earthly desires and trusting in the sacred balance of the universe. The ancient Egyptian insight is surrender purifies the heart. The less you cling, the lighter you become, and only a light heart may rise into eternal life. The Daoist path emphasizes non-resistance and flowing with the Tao or the way. To yield is to be preserved whole. To be bent is to become straight. To be empty is to be full. Surrender in Daoism is not weakness, but wisdom, allowing life to unfold through you without clinging, grasping, or resisting. In the Tao Te Ching, chapter 13, it says, "He who clings to his body is not long for this world. He who lets go will be safe." When we surrender our attachment to the flesh and ego, we align with the Tao and ascend in spirit. In the Popol Vuh, a sacred Mayan text, the hero twins must descend into the underworld, Shobaba, surrendering many aspects of their ego and body, even being burned and reborn, before they can ascend into the sky and become the sun and moon. They do not escape death, they pass through it, transformed. True ascension requires descent and surrender. The ego must die for the soul to rise. Shamanism is all about surrender. We surrender to the all, to the whisper of Great Spirit, to the natural flow of life and death. To become true vessels of universal energy, we must empty ourselves of our egos, our fears, our perfectionism. To allow the light to flow through us, we must surrender our body and work in spirit. We surrender judgment to hold sacred space for healing, to walk into the depths of someone else's hell, to remind them of the divine within themselves as we guide them home. Surrender's not giving up, it's rising up. It's the sacred release of identity with the form and the remembrance that we are spirit first. We are not our hungers, not our wounds, not our aging, our pain, our past. We are the breath beneath the breath, the light that animates the body, not the body itself. When we surrender the need to cling, to control, to fix, to force, we float, we rise. We remember that we are not bound by the flesh, but held by the divine. And in that remembrance, the soul ascends. The Hermetic principle of rhythm tells us that everything flows in and out, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall. This is not just poetic language, it's a universal law. Everything in creation moves in cycles. The seasons, the moon, our breath, our emotions, even our spiritual evolution. There's a rhythm to life, and when we resist it, when we cling to what's passing or fear what's coming, we suffer. Surrender is how we step into that rhythm. It's not defeat, it's alignment. When we fight the current, we exhaust ourselves. But when we surrender, we become like a surfer, catching the wave, not being crushed by it. Surrender is the soul's dance with divine rhythm. It's the trust that the tide that takes something away will bring something else in its time. It's letting go of control, not because we're powerless, but because we recognize a greater power at work. The Hermetic teachings remind us the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. What falls will rise, what ends will begin again. What breaks will be remade. In this way, surrender is not giving up, it's giving into the greater wisdom that holds all things. It is faith in motion. It's the soul remembering that we're not separate from the flow, but part of it. And when we align with it, we rise, not by force, but by grace. The law of conservation of energy in physics states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It only changes form. This foundational principle in physics carries profound spiritual wisdom. Everything we experience, our joy, our sorrow, our pain, our past, is energy. And just like light or heat or sound, it doesn't disappear, it transforms. When we surrender, we're not erasing or discarding parts of ourselves, we're allowing them to shift. The wounds don't vanish, they become wisdom. The grief doesn't dissolve, it deepens our compassion. Just as energy circulates in endless loops, returning in different forms, so too does our life, rising, falling, reshaping us with each breath. And when we surrender, we become conscious participants in this sacred transformation. So the pain you thought would break you became your medicine. The story you thought was over, it became your rising. A challenge is to ask ourselves, where am I still clinging to control? Can I breathe, soften, and let go? Not in fear, but in trust. In part 2, I provide the flowing water, flowing will ritual to help anchor this into reality. In the next video of this series, we'll move into forgiveness and the release of wrath. Until then, may you find peace in the letting go.